All right, quick one. A trade rumor is circling that the Kansas City Chiefs could target New York Jets running back Breece Hall before the deadline. And it's the kind of move that would force every opponent to prepare differently for Patrick Mahomes and this offense. The item that pushed the rumor higher was a recent insider write-up that listed Kansas City among the plausible suitors for Hall. A player who, while not a 1,000-yard rusher yet in a single season, brings real receiving upside and two-way value that would pair nicely with Mahomes' skill set. Heavy sports. Why should you care right now? Two reasons. First, Mahomes is still doing damage with his legs. He's leading the team in rushing yards this season and has added several rushing touchdowns. And that tells you the offense sometimes leans on QB scrambles. But the Chiefs' running back room, led by Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt, hasn't consistently given the team a reliable three-down, pass-catching complement who can threaten linebackers in space. That's where a player like Hall becomes interesting on paper. Heavy sports second, the offense just got an obvious jolt, with Rashee Rice returning from suspension and giving Mahomes another elite receiving weapon. That return has helped the passing game click again, which makes the idea of adding a running back who can also serve as an outlet and mismatch in the flat more attractive for play call variety. The reporting that connected the Chiefs to Hall explicitly notes that Kansas City could be seeking a more dynamic option as they push toward the playoffs. Heavy sports. Now I want to hear from you, and quickly. In the comments, vote yes or no. Would you trade draft capital for Breece Hall right now? Type yes if you'd pull the trigger today, or no if you want to keep the draft chips and trust Pacheco, Chachi, Hunt. Also, hit that like button if you want me to produce a deep dive on Hall's fit. And don't forget to subscribe. We're trying to hit 6,000 subscribers, so this channel can bring faster trade breakdowns and live reaction videos. Your subscription helps get us there. Okay. Next up, I'll break down exactly who Breece Hall is, his strengths, his injury background, and why his receiving totals make him uniquely interesting for Andy Reid's offense. Ready? Let's talk about Breece Hall, the guy who's got Chiefs fans and NFL insiders buzzing. If you've only caught glimpses of him in highlights, here's the quick rundown. Hall was a second-round pick out of Iowa State, drafted by the New York Jets in 2022, and he made an immediate impact before tearing his ACL midway through his rookie season. That injury slowed him down for a while, but once he was healthy again, he reminded everyone why he was considered one of the most complete backs in that draft class. Now, statistically speaking, Hall's resume already looks impressive for a young back. Over his first few seasons, he's piled up over 2,700 total yards from scrimmage, combining rushing and receiving, and that's despite playing on a Jets offense that's been, let's be honest, chaotic at best. His mix of speed, vision, and patience allows him to bounce runs outside or cut back inside depending on blocking angles, something Andy Reid's play designs could exploit beautifully. What sets Hall apart isn't just his ability to hit open lanes, it's his receiving skill set. The guy runs legitimate routes. He's not just a dump-off option. The Jets have lined him up out, wide, in the slot, and even on wheel routes, and he's been productive doing all of it. He's a dual-threat running back, the kind of player who could finally fill that long-missing spot in Kansas City's offense since the days of Kareem Hunt's early years. And when you look at Hall compared to Isaiah Pacheco, you immediately see the contrast. Pacheco is that violent, downhill runner who thrives on contact. He's explosive, but not exactly known for finesse or soft hands in the passing game. Hall, on the other hand, brings that fluid receiving element that can stress defenses horizontally. Imagine Mahomes running play action, freezing the linebacker, and dumping it off to Hall in space. That's the kind of design that keeps defensive coordinators awake at night. Now, let's not ignore the elephant in the room, his injury history. Some fans are nervous about the ACL tear and whether that might affect his durability long-term. Fair concern. But since returning, Hall has shown burst, acceleration, and top-end speed that look nearly identical to his pre-injury form. Still, that concern might factor into how much Brett Veach would be willing to give up in a trade. So, let's make this interactive. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you trust Hall's health going forward? Yes or no? And while you're at it, give him a grade. If Hall were to become a Chief, what's your letter grade for the move? A, B, C, D, or F? Also, if you're enjoying the breakdown, hit that like button and subscribe to help us reach 6,000 subscribers here on Total Chiefs News. Every sub helps us keep covering every Chiefs rumor the moment it breaks, and you don't want to miss the next few weeks as trade talk heats up. Up next, we're going to talk about the reality check inside Kansas City's running back room. Who's doing what? What's missing? And whether Breece Hall truly fills that gap. Now that you've got a clear picture of what Breece Hall brings to the table, let's be real about what the Chiefs' current running back room looks like, and where it might fall short. Starting with Isaiah Pacheco, the energy this guy brings is undeniable. Every time he touches the ball, you can feel the intensity through the screen. He runs angry, breaks tackles, and never shies away from contact. He's been the heartbeat of the backfield for the last couple of seasons. But here's the thing. As much as fans love that style, it comes with limits. Pacheco isn't the most refined receiver out of the backfield, and he's still developing as a pass protector. That matters when you've got Patrick Mahomes back there trying to read complex blitz packages. Then there's Kareem Hunt, a name that instantly brings nostalgia. When Kansas City re-signed him, fans felt that spark again. He knows the system, he knows Reid's style, and he still runs with power. But at this stage of his career, Hunt isn't the same explosive weapon he was in 2017. He's more of a short yardage and goal line bruiser than a consistent three-down threat. Having him back has helped stabilize the depth, but the burst and big play ability aren't quite the same. So here's where the conversation gets interesting. Between Pacheco's aggressive running and Hunt's veteran savvy, Kansas City has a solid foundation. But what's missing is that true receiving back, someone who can line up wide, motion into the slot, or force defenses to declare coverage before the snap. That's what makes Breece Hall such an intriguing name. He's not just another runner, he's a chess piece. And you can see that need show up on film. In some games this year, Mahomes has led the team in rushing, which honestly isn't ideal. It shows how much the offense still relies on him to create outside structure when the run game stalls. Adding a back who can give you easy yards on screens or checkdowns could open up everything else. So, let's turn this to you. In the comments, tell me which RB you'd rather see starting in a playoff game against a top defense. Type P for Pacheco, H for Hunt, or B for Breece Hall. And if you want deeper coverage on potential trade fits, hit that subscribe button right now and help us get to 6,000 subscribers. Every single one of you makes a huge difference for the channel and for all the Chiefs fans who want this kind of breakdown. Next up, we're going to look at whether this trade could actually happen, what it would cost, what the Jets might ask for, and if the Chiefs could even afford it. All right, let's get into the part every Chiefs fan wonders when a rumor like this drops. How realistic is it? Could Kansas City actually make a move for Breece Hall? And what would it take? Let's start with the obvious. Breece Hall is still on his rookie deal, which means the financial side isn't the biggest hurdle right now. He's affordable, at least for the moment. His cap hit for this season is modest, and he's under team control through 2025. That's appealing for Breece, who's always balancing top-tier contracts for Mahomes, Chris Jones, and Travis Kelce, with the need to add young talent around them. The real question is whether the Jets are even open to moving him. Now, according to reports, there's been no official trade request from Hall's camp, but the Jets' situation is shaky. They're fighting inconsistency on offense, and if things don't improve, a fire sale could happen before the trade deadline. Hall is one of their few high-value assets who could bring back premium draft capital. And you can bet several teams would line up if he became available. So, what would it cost Kansas City? A second-round pick seems like the realistic starting point. Maybe more if there's competition. The Jets know Hall's upside and would probably hold out for as much as possible. The Chiefs, meanwhile, rarely spend big picks on running backs. Breece usually plays the long game, finding value in later rounds or low-cost free agents. Still, when you're in win-now mode and chasing a third straight Super Bowl, sometimes you have to take that swing. From a roster standpoint, bringing in Hall would shake things up. You'd have Pacheco, Hall, and Hunt, three capable backs. But someone would inevitably lose touches. It could also change the offensive balance, giving Andy Reid a chance to get more creative with split-back sets or motion-heavy packages that disguise screens and angle routes. But the flip side is risk. If you give up a high pick and Hall doesn't stay healthy, you've lost a premium asset for a position the team already handles decently. That's why this trade rumor divides fans. It's the classic risk versus reward move. So here's your turn to weigh in. Would you give up a second-round pick for Breece Hall? Let me know in the comments, yes or no, and explain why. And if you want us to break down a full mock trade package for the Chiefs and Jets, hit like right now. Stick around, because in the final chapter, we'll talk about what this move could mean for Kansas City's Super Bowl hopes, and whether it's worth the gamble. So now that we've looked at who Breece Hall is, what the Chiefs already have, and what it might cost to land him, let's finish with the big question. Is this move worth it? Adding Breece Hall would instantly make the Chiefs' offense more unpredictable. Andy Reid would finally have a true dual-threat back who can not only grind yards on the ground, but also catch passes like a slot receiver. Think about the kind of pressure that puts on defenses. Mahomes running RPOs, Hall leaking out on wheel routes, Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce working the middle. It's the kind of flexibility that turns a good offense into a nightmare to game plan for. And beyond the X's and O's, this would be a statement move. It would tell the league that Kansas City isn't satisfied after back-to-back titles, that they're ready to go all in again. Sometimes that psychological edge matters just as much as the numbers. Opposing. Defenses would have to respect every inch of the field, and Mahomes would get an extra safety valve when protection breaks down. But there's no ignoring the downside. Giving up valuable draft picks for a position that's historically short-lived is a risk. Running backs take hits, they get worn down, and Hall's ACL history is still a concern for some front offices. Breece has built this dynasty on discipline, picking the right moments to spend capital. So if the Chiefs pull this trigger, it would mean they genuinely believe Hall's the missing piece for another Super Bowl run. So here's what I think. If the price tag stays reasonable, this trade could be the ultimate cherry-on-top move for a loaded roster. But if the Jets start asking for a first-round pick, it's probably smarter to walk away. Kansas City doesn't need to panic. They're already contenders, Adding Hall would just take the offense from great to terrifying. Now, I want to hear from you. Would Breece Hall make the Chiefs favorites in the AFC again? Drop your yes or no in the comments, and let's see where the fan base stands. And before you go, make sure to subscribe right now and help us reach 6,000 subscribers here on Total Chiefs News. Smash that like button if you enjoyed the breakdown, and I'll see you in the next video as we keep tracking every Chiefs trade rumor and roster move leading up to the postseason.